Ladies and gentlemen, I can't get a quote from somebody at work that dislikes you and then give it to the Washington Post and have them call it news or journalism. That's called gossip and hearsay. That's called a baseless claim if you were to level that at a wonderful Democrat. Whenever there's hearsay or gossip, well, you never really hear it reported about them. It's always about Trump. But whenever there's the story about Hunter's emails, well, you can't prove anything, even though business associates and money, there's a money trail, and they don't deny that it's their computer or emails. Oh, you can't prove anything. A correlation, it doesn't equal causation when money from Uranium One officials goes into the foundation, and miraculously, 20% of U.S. uranium capacity is sold to a country we're now sanctioning, who now has a monopoly on that commodity. Hit subscribe to this channel right now. I have a very important segment on the stock market crash channel below in the pinned comment. This type of journalism is never leveled at a liberal or Democratic politician. It never happens. Scoop. This is Axios. Esper says Trump wanted to, quote-unquote, shoot at protesters. Okay, that never happened. He never said that. He never told Esper he wanted to do that, ever. This is a lie. This is a sad and pathetic attempt by a former bureaucrat, defense chief, defense secretary, Mark Esper, to sell a book. He's selling a book. It's in a memoir. There's no evidence for it. There's no backing. There's no evidence. These are the same people who pontificate and preach and condemn and give these sermons on information. Oh, information. They're the ones who believe the most conspiratorial theories. Trump was installed by the Kremlin, you know. 6 years later, I don't care what the Mueller probe says or that of every other investigation or even the Durham probe special counsel, Bull Durham, who cares? Oh, I think he still was installed by the Kremlin. None of it was true. They believe only lies. And it's like the mainstream view of things. And so Trump did not tell, and then you have, it was first reported that Mark Milley 2 years ago said the same thing. Well, he's also a never-Trumper, and his record recently hasn't been very good. But with the Doha agreement, Milley and mashed potato brains Biden and Blinken, all of these people have a tarnished record. Beyond tarnished. Those Americans should be alive today. 13 Americans should be alive today. And those over 100 Afghans should be alive today. So Trump never said he wanted to shoot at anybody. That never ever happened. It never happened. So I'll read you Axios, former Defense Secretary Mark Esper charges in a memoir out May 10th, that former President Trump said when demonstrators were filling the streets around the White House following, okay, can't you just fire at them? Just fire them in the legs or something. Okay, that never happened. He never said that. And if we're going to go and talk about what people might have said or could have said, you could simply say, a new memoir comes out that says Hillary wanted top-secret intelligence on private servers to hide Clinton Foundation emails, which is the most logical excuse to have a private server and delete 30,000 emails as your foundation gets hundreds of millions of dollars from Uranium One, billionaires, countries, and so you want to hide that information, but you're never going to get that memoir. You're never going to get that at least published or amplified in media. You're never going to get anything that President Obama said, and you need somebody to translate what mashed potato brains Biden is saying in a hushed, garbled up voice. So you're never going to get anything that anyone says on the left based on, what a source is telling you in a memoir. Hit subscribe to this channel, by the way, ladies and gentlemen. Hit subscribe to the Stock Market Crash channel. I have a very, very important segment on the Stock Market Crash channel. But this is a very important segment. Share this everywhere. Indignation, outrage, These emotions are the lifeblood. They are the lifeblood. They are the essence, the soul of the Democratic Party. They don't stand for any policies. We're going to protect the planet. Oh, yeah? Well, now oil and gas are geopolitical issues. That changed really quickly. So now you're flooding the country with strategic oil reserves. I guess you jettison saving the planet pretty quickly, huh? Infrastructure is very important. Well, that tanked with Manchin. And oh, by the way, did you do anything to combat rising inflation? Well, it's only temporary. No, it's not. You're looking at a 50 basis point hike almost certainly this week, tomorrow, and the next day. The stock market is tanking, like I said, so read my article in the Federalist. I predicted all of this, ladies and gentlemen. That's why you should subscribe to this channel, and definitely the stock market crash channel. But you have inflation rising throughout the country, food prices. We're heading towards food shortages in some areas. And gas prices are through the roof. With Trump, we had record lows in unemployment. We had 2% inflation. We had around $3 gas prices. And we had $1 to $2 billion in property damage his last year in office, and almost around 20 lives lost, according to Wikipedia, where Democrats and CNN journalists, quote-unquote journalists, were standing in front of buildings in flames saying it's fiery but mostly peaceful. And so they wrap their own misdeeds in a cloak of Trump fabricated quotes. They need to fabricate quotes because everything happening under mashed potato brains is an absolute catastrophe. So what better way? Pretty soon, and Axios is one of the better publications out there, pretty soon the Washington Post or somebody from Trump's administration, and Esper was a never Trump Republican. They say, well, he's a Republican. The Lincoln Project, Bill Kristol, these people are not Republicans. They're just Democrats now. And there is no, you could find conservatives or Republicans or people who vote for Trump who don't like his personality. I want somebody more decent. Then go vote for Mittens Romney, who puts his dog on his car, for 20 hours in a trip. Who does that in the freezing cold? Who does that? Anyway, they would have sent him to The Hague if that story came out now. But go, to a nice, good person like Kinzinger or Cheney, who would love to send Americans off to the geopolitical nightmare taking place under Biden's watch in Europe right now. Everything is worse under mashed potato brains. You'd have to be a complete imbecile to not look at inflation, GDP contracting. We have a contracting GDP. We're entering a recession. I remember speaking to people on the left who disowned me, which is fine because they're like in a cult and they don't have any critical thinking skills, and they're complete and utter ideologues who have to just, surround themselves with only wonderful, morally superior liberal Democrats who are like, this is fantastic. Yeah, inflation, gas prices, contracting economy, geopolitical nightmares. This is so great. At least Trump isn't tweeting. But I remember them saying, well, the economy isn't that good under Trump. Oh, you know what? It's really not that great. Yeah, compare it to now. And then you say, well, we had to shut down No, you didn't have to end economic activity 2 years ago. And that's one of the precursors, one of the reasons the Pandora's box was opened up once Democrats, media, the experts pushed for all of that. It was a choice to be made. You didn't have to do these things. There is no consensus in American politics. It's a fabricated, coerced paradigm of thought that disparages and demeans and marginalizes anyone who commits blasphemy or heresy. Anyone outside of the just manufactured bubble. Now, Elon Musk owns Twitter. So what do you think's going to happen? There's going to be discourse, debate, dialogue, discussion, everything Democrats can't stand. And they're the ones who think they're going after authoritarians. Trump never said that. And he never said that because you don't need to prove a negative, and you don't need to disprove hearsay or gossip. And you certainly don't need to disprove hearsay or gossip from somebody hawking or trying to sell a book, okay? Just because anything Trump says that's horrible correlates directly to what wonderful, morally superior liberal Democrats think Trump said doesn't mean it's true. Furthermore, like, look what, mashed potato brains called Peter Doocy. Trump never called anyone that. Then they're like, well, do you see what Trump did? It was worse. No, it didn't. He said they were adversaries of the people. Okay, that was more of a philosophical statement that had nothing to do with picking on an individual journalist and calling them that name. But see, there's nothing that Trump does that, like, Democrats live in a morally relative world where the actual crimes they commit are not as egregious as the possible words Trump said in a memoir from a former bureaucrat trying to sell a book. And this is the world we live in. And this, like, honestly, Trump was a great president. Great economy, great foreign policy. Like, you'd have to not know much about politics to realize he was a much better president than what we have now. But that's why I say DeSantis could be a better choice, just because DeSantis doesn't elicit, like, they don't have enough time to create this world around DeSantis in the same manner they do with Trump. Anyway, hit subscribe to this channel right now. Hit subscribe to the Stock Market Crash channel. I have a segment right now on that channel. It's below in the pinned comment. Trump never said those things. And that article, sources and Memoir. So where are the memoirs about what President Obama said about Libya? Any memoirs there? Give me your thoughts below. Hit subscribe right now. Thanks.